Hello guys, I'm Tom, and today we will see who Krampus is. One of the most interesting, grotesque, and chilling creatures we've seen in modern horror is Krampus. Also known as the demonic Santa Claus, the monster Santa Claus, and the shadow of St. Nicholas, Krampus serves as the main antagonist in the 2015 film of the same name, also known in some places as Krampus. The Christmas horror. This film was written and directed by the talented Michael Dougherty, who also created the film Trick or Treat and the iconic character Sam. He also directed the entertaining and epic movie Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Krampus is a very mysterious demonic being that originates from ancient European folklore. In a twisted and somewhat malevolent way, he seeks to ensure that Christmas traditions are respected and that people do not lose the Christmas spirit. This is why Krampus torments a family throughout the plot of the film. Due to his interesting origins and history, and how powerful and terrifying he can be, this character has quickly become a favorite among fans of Christmas horror. That's why, in this video, I will explain in detail the story and origins of Krampus, as presented in the 2015 film, and then I will analyze his physical appearance, what we know about his personality and behavior, as well as his incredible abilities and weaknesses. I will also explain in detail each of his helpers, which are different types of monsters and demonic creatures that serve Krampus directly. Krampus, also known as the Demon of Christmas or the Shadow of St. Nicholas, is the main antagonist of the 2015 film Krampus. This being is based on a mythological creature from European folklore. Krampus is the evil version of Santa Claus, who punishes children who have been bad and do not respect the Christmas holiday or its traditions. He also punishes the parents of children who behave badly. He has been doing this for thousands of years, as explained by the protagonist's family's grandmother, named Omi, who mentions this fact during the film. Being a sort of demon, Krampus possesses many supernatural powers. However, he also has the help of creatures that resemble evil elves, known as his helpers. Krampus appears as a monstrous creature with large horns. He has 2 large legs that end in hooves similar to those of a ram. Additionally, he carries chains tied around his body with small bells inscribed with his name. Krampus wears a mask resembling Santa Claus, with a large beard and long gray hair. This mask hides Krampus' true face, but gives him a very terrifying and chilling appearance. He also has 2 very large hands with claws, adorned with golden rings on his fingers. His eyes are a dark orange or deep red with a yellowish tint, similar to the eyes of goats. Krampus wears a kind of coat made of what appear to be the pelts of very large animals, which covers his entire body. He also has a very long tongue, which is usually depicted as normal. However, in most representations of Krampus, this tongue is split into 2 parts, like that of snakes. Krampus, as I mentioned earlier, is the evil version of Santa Claus. His sole concern is to punish children and their parents if they have been bad or disobedient to Christmas traditions. Additionally, he punishes people who have lost the Christmas spirit and who despise the holiday. If people do not repent for their wrongdoings, this creature takes them to hell. According to director Michael Dougherty, Krampus truly enjoys his work and not only delights in hunting his victims, but also in tormenting them and playing with them, essentially like a huge cat hunting helpless mice. Interestingly, we never see Krampus' true face in the film, as he always wears his terrifying mask. However, we can briefly see his mouth and his real eyes. Unlike Santa Claus, we are told that Krampus is an older and much darker spirit. His modus operandi is very interesting, as when he arrives at a specific location, he does not attack directly at first. He sends his helpers to torment and scare his future victims. After this, Krampus attacks and takes his victims to the underworld or hell, starting to take them one by one. Finally, he leaves only one person alive to serve as a warning to the others and as a sort of evidence of the creature's existence. Krampus specifically leaves the child who lost the Christmas spirit but is not entirely responsible for it. This concept is clearly seen in the case of Grandma Omi when she was a child, and also in the case of the protagonist child of the film, Max. The story of Krampus in the film is very interesting. He appears when the Engle family has a strong argument, getting angry with each other. This situation of family conflict causes Max, one of the younger children in the family, to become completely disillusioned with Christmas. As a result, Max destroys the letter he had written to Santa Claus, in which he asked for his entire family to be united and for them to have a happy Christmas. This action triggers Krampus' wrath, who arrives in their neighborhood accompanied by all his helpers. He arrives along with a very strong and intense snowstorm, which completely affects the neighborhood where this family lives. After this, Max notices that a terrifying snowman appears in the yard in front of his house, and then the family receives a mysterious bag of toys. Max's sister, Beth, goes out to see her boyfriend, who lives a few streets away from the Engle house. However, unexpectedly, she encounters Krampus on her way. Not only does he scare her, but he also brutally chases her, showing us how agile and skilled he is in his movements. Beth eventually manages to hide under a truck, which Krampus circles. After a while, he seemingly walks away, but not before dropping a toy, a jack-in-the-box, from which a terrifying creature emerges that attacks and captures Beth. Throughout the movie, we see that Krampus helpers attack the family and begin capturing them one by one, often in unexpected and quite brutal ways. It is important to mention that Krampus and his various helpers not only attack and take the Engle family, but it is also implied that they plan to destroy the entire town. This becomes clear when the parents, while searching for Beth, discover that her boyfriend's house is empty and that something monstrous had entered through the chimney. An important detail to mention is that the Engle family is attacked by Krampus and all his servants because they completely lack the Christmas spirit. In fact, the entire community in the town or village where they live seems to have no respect or love for Christmas. The only one who does have the Christmas spirit is the boy Max, something that is demonstrated at the beginning of the film. In this part, we see how people behave violently and aggressively at the mall, acting selfishly while doing their last-minute Christmas shopping, which contradicts the true spirit of Christmas, which is supposed to be a time of giving, not receiving. Additionally, we are shown that the mall Santa Claus is a pervert who showed inappropriate interest in Beth when the Engle family took a picture with him. We also see Max fighting another boy because this boy was telling the younger children that Santa Claus didn't exist and was just a made-up story. This anti-Christmas attitude upset Max, who reacted by attacking him. On the other hand, all the relatives who come to celebrate Christmas have very bad attitudes. Even the family father, Tom, spends all his time on the phone and continues working even on Christmas. Beth, the family's daughter, is just looking for an opportunity and an excuse to visit her boyfriend. All of these combined attitudes from the people in that town cause Krampus to already have his sights on that place. When Max's cousins make him angry by reading aloud his letter to Santa Claus, in which he asked for his family to be together and happy like in previous years, they do so with the intention of humiliating him and laughing at him. Max gets very upset, and when the only person who truly had the Christmas spirit gets disillusioned and tears up his letter, that's when Krampus is called into action. This monster, according to director Michael Dougherty, is the personification of all the bad and anti-Christmas actions of people. That's why he manifests to punish them all. The story of the origins of this monster, which we see in the movie, is told by the family's Austrian grandmother, named Omi. She recounts that when she was a child, she lived in a small village in Austria, shortly after World War II. At that time, Omi tried to keep the happiness and faith in Christmas and Santa Claus alive to cope with the difficult situation she was living in, as there was little food in her village, and it was in very poor condition after the war. Unfortunately, she witnessed the cruelty of the people in the village, who pushed and fought each other over a piece of bread. She also saw the constant arguments between her parents, including one occasion when her mother, furious, destroyed the Santa Claus doll that she loved so much. All of this caused Omi to lose all hope and faith in the Christmas spirit. It was this loss of faith that invoked Krampus, who appeared on Christmas Eve to attack everyone in the village along with his helpers. In the end, Krampus took everyone to the underworld, leaving Omi as the only survivor and witness to his existence. He also gave her a small bell as a reminder, so she would never again lose her Christmas spirit or faith in that holiday. I really liked these origins presented in the movie, as they show Krampus as a being who has always existed, being a very popular legend in European countries like Austria and Germany. In European folklore, Krampus is a very ancient being that represents the evil side of Santa Claus. This entity appears in several Austrian legends and was used by parents in those countries to warn their children that if they didn't behave well, they could become victims of Krampus, who would attack them and take them away. Lastly, I want to talk about the end of the movie and explain it in more depth, as it can be interpreted in different ways. In the end, Krampus captures the entire family and leaves Max as a witness and the only survivor, also giving him a bell, just like his grandmother. In that scene, Max regrets becoming disillusioned with his family and Christmas. Therefore, Max offers to let Krampus take him instead of the whole family, hoping that this will allow him to forgive them all. Unfortunately for Max, Krampus laughs at his concern, grabs him, and throws him into the underworld, opening a kind of portal in the ground. Later, we see that Max wakes up in his bed, and when he looks out the window, he notices that the town seems normal. He then goes downstairs and realizes that his family is fine and everything appears to be in order. Max tells everyone that he loves them very much before starting to open the presents. However, the first gift Max opens is the bell Krampus gave him, which leaves the whole family shocked and silent, as it seems that everyone remembers what happened, including the terrifying demon Krampus and his helpers. We are then shown that the house is trapped inside a snow globe on Krampus's desk. This leaves us with two theories for interpreting the ending. The first is that Krampus, in a supernatural way, shrank and trapped the family inside the snow globe so they could celebrate Christmas over and over again, as if it were a twisted version of hell. The second theory is that Krampus saw that the family learned their lesson, and the snow globe simply shows that he is watching the Engle house to ensure they don't lose their Christmas spirit again, and continue celebrating Christmas respectfully and in accordance with tradition. This second theory is supported by the prequel comic titled Krampus, The Shadow of St. Nicholas, which was released shortly after the movie, as something similar happens in it. Now, I want to talk in depth about Krampus, his origins, and the role he plays in the movie. I also want to describe the different helpers who serve him, as they are very varied in both appearance and behavior. It is important to note that all of Krampus's helpers arrive at the house inside a sack of toys, and thanks to their master's supernatural powers, they eventually grow in size to directly attack their victims. First of all, Krampus has dark elves, which are basically the evil version of the elves who serve Santa Claus. They are short in stature and usually wear terrifying masks that give them a very macabre and disturbing appearance. Interestingly, it seems that these masks have runes or demonic symbols carved into them, which accentuate their terrifying look. The elves obey Krampus in everything he asks and frequently help him take the bad people to the underworld. They wear small coats that cover their whole bodies, and like Krampus, they wear chains proportional to their size, which they drag along. The masks they wear have different expressions, and some of them even have horns, which further highlights their demonic nature. In the movie, these elves arrive with Krampus and attack the Engle family in several ways, scaring them and putting out the fire to help the other creatures in Krampus' service, such as the giant Jack-in-the-Box. They are also the ones who kidnap most of the family, and, along with Krampus, mock Max at the end of the movie. It is believed that these elves, being a kind of demons, are immortal and possess some magical abilities, just like their master. Another of Krampus's helpers is the living gingerbread cookies named Lumpy, Dumpy, and Clumpy. These beings appear when Howard hears strange noises in the kitchen. The cookies come out and attack him in a coordinated manner, even using a nail gun. Howard manages to defend himself and eliminates one of the cookies by making a lamp explode, which catches fire. He then kills a second cookie by shooting it with a shotgun. However, the last living cookie dies in a comical way when it is eaten by the family dog, who rescues Howard. These beings exhibit psychotic behavior, as they are somewhat sadistic and greatly enjoy hurting and attacking humans. This is evident in how they laugh while carrying out these actions and seem to have a great time doing so. It is believed that they are as intelligent as the elves, as they attack in an organized manner and use different tactics and weapons to achieve their goals. When these creatures take Howard Jr., we can observe not only their intelligence, but also their superhuman strength, as despite their size, they manage to lift the child up the chimney with no problem, even though they are small gingerbread cookies. The last helpers of Krampus are the demonic toys, who are fierce and try to eliminate the entire Engle family. In the movie, we see 5 of these toys in total. First, there is Der Clown, a gigantic jack-in-the-box with a snake-like body. This creature has a porcelain clown head and a pair of arms. Its jaw can open horizontally, revealing a row of sharp teeth inside its mouth. Despite its massive size, it moves quickly and can even consume entire humans as if it were a giant snake. This is shown in the movie as Der Clown swallows Jordan completely, as well as Howard's dog. Next is Perkta, a porcelain angel who is essentially a decoration resembling a normal doll. She has blonde hair, a white dress, and 2 large angel wings with feathers. Interestingly, her mouth is filled with needle-like sharp teeth, and she also has a long tongue that she can use as a whip. Instead of arms, this creature has claws that she uses to brutally attack her victims. Generally, she flies very fast when attacking, making her difficult to defeat. Tick-Tock is a wind-up toy robot with glowing red eyes and very sharp teeth. Its body seems to be made of different parts, as its arms are distinct from one another. One of them ends in sharp blades that function like claws, while the other has a large hand with fingers. Teddy Clow is a teddy bear with 2 large eyes and several rows of sharp teeth in its mouth. It has 4 limbs that end in very sharp claws, and it wears a red bow. Although its body appears to be made of fabric and synthetic materials, its eyes and mouth seem biological, as it bleeds when one of its eyes is stabbed. Basically, it is a grotesque living teddy bear. The last toy we see is the Nutcracker, and it is basically a traditional-looking nutcracker. However, it has wild eyes and very sharp teeth. Like the other monsters, this being only appears briefly in the film, and we can see it clearly at the end before the credits. In addition to those helpers, there is a creature that attacks people and is under the snow. Many fans have theorized that it is probably a giant jack-in-the-box, like Der Clown, although this has never been officially confirmed. Evil snowmen also appear. However, they do not move, and it is believed that the elves made them just to intimidate and scare the family. And well, those are all the helpers of Krampus that appear in the film. My favorites are Der Clown, or that monstrous giant jack-in-the-box, and also Teddy Clow because, in my opinion, it is very terrifying, and I love the concept of it being an organic toy. Something very interesting to mention is that the Krampus movie is a spiritual successor to the classic Halloween movie Trick or Treat by the same director, which respects the Halloween tradition. In this case, Krampus is a terrifying story and a warning telling us to respect Christmas. This is why the talented director Michael Dougherty said in the film's commentary version that this movie and Trick or Treat exist in the same universe. The director also mentioned that for this story, he was inspired not only by the real Krampus legends, but also by wanting to reflect the Christmas spirit of the 80s movie Gremlins and the dark and somewhat disturbing tone of Silent Night, Deadly Night, which features the slasher killer Billy Chapman. He wanted to merge both concepts and tones to create a horror and dark comedy movie. Well, that's everything we know about Krampus and his helpers. Honestly, I really liked the portrayal of Krampus by director Michael Dougherty, who also created Sam from Trick or Treat, who is the physical embodiment of Halloween, and that's why he defends his holiday aggressively. I feel like Krampus is a very similar being to Sam, but with Christmas. As I mentioned before, I prefer the second theory to explain what happens to the Engle family at the end of the film, as it's a bit happier and much less grim, more in line with the Christmas season. Overall, I really liked the design of Krampus, as he looked very terrifying and imposing. I also like that we only saw him with that mask, as in my opinion, it makes him even scarier and adds a bit more mystery to this chilling being. The movie in general is good, as it is very entertaining and made by the talented director Michael Dougherty. That's why, if you haven't seen it yet, I truly recommend it, especially for this holiday season. But let me know your opinion in the comments below. Did you already know about Krampus, the terror of Christmas? Which of his monstrous helpers are your favorites, and why? Would you like a video where I explain the prequel comic to the movie? And lastly, how do you think Krampus looks without his mask? Comment below with your answers to these questions and your overall thoughts on Krampus, the terror of Christmas. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you liked it, give it a like and share it to support the channel, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of my new videos.